What you gonna do, Frank? Huh? What you gonna do? You gonna shoot me in front of everybody? Huh?
When you witness something truly badass, you can't help but scream for an encore. Unfortunately, Kanye West has a different meaning for that word, so here he is having lost his billionaire status. Anyway, if you remember the real heroes, then you'll know that our favourite screen icons have been consistently killing it for years with their unlimited supply of sass. When it comes to covering awesome entries, the TV Regent sure knows how to get it right, and you're living proof of that with the love you showed to my top 10 most badass scenes across film and TV, so I'm back with a Volume 2. This dude has way too much sass to simply be restricted to one movie. Denzel Washington strikes again in Equalizer 2, where he first kicks off an interesting little chat with a Russian assassin who kind of looks like that stalker dude from Netflix's You. The hitman warns our hero that his target is dangerous, but he simply replies by saying that's what he'd like to think. Of course, this triggers a fight scene that Denzel wins with ease thanks to some super slick moves. Just look at him go! Dude's wearing some pretty restrictive clothing and he still manages to whoop all those losers in a jiffy. If that wasn't cool enough, the protagonist sits down next to his counterpart and says,
There are two kinds of pain in this world. Pain that hurts, pain that alters.
damn bruh, you just gave him a lesson in martial arts and philosophy. Now that's what I call a true jack of all trades.
So, I'm gonna kill each and every one of you, and the only disappointment in it for me is that I only get to do it once.
Discombobulate. Weaken right jaw. Now fracture.
Benedict Cumberbatch might be the undisputed Sherlock amongst many fans, but let's not forget Robert Downey Jr. and his epic role as the iconic detective. Come to think of it, this must have been the reason why Doctor Strange and Iron Man didn't get along at first. Anyway, the scene in question is when Sherlock Holmes is facing off against a dude who's easily twice his size. Now, this would normally be a losing battle, especially for someone who doesn't have an Iron Man suit with him, but classic era Tony Stark shows off his legendary powers of deduction by imagining the entire battle before it actually happens. It doesn't only look good in a dream, he actually executes his plan to perfection, and just as he said earlier, it'll take 6 months for his opponent to recover mentally. All of that after sneaking a peek at Rachel McAdams. Yeah, that's the genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist that we all know and love.
Physical recovery, 6 weeks. Full psychological recovery, 6 months. Capacity to spit it back of head, neutralized.
The House of the Dragon keeps bringing back some of the most pleasant memories from Game of Thrones. Well, pleasant might not be the right term, but you know what I mean, right? The scene I remember the most is when Daenerys finally gives in to the dark side and allows Drogon to burn the entire Iron Fleet as well as the Golden Company. It's a brutal scene with some of the most effective CGI used on the show, which is why it leaves a lasting impact. Just look at that dragon go. He's so overpowered that his victims are simply watching on in total submission. Even that Greyjoy scum. It's badass to another level, and fans everywhere rejoiced upon seeing their favourite dragon finally deliver the goods. On another note, come on Daenerys, I know you wanted your subjects to bend the knee, but how are they going to do that if you burn the knee? Get it? No? Alright.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Captain America might stand for all things mighty, but the man also knows how to start a meme fest. In The Winter Soldier, we see Steve Rogers casually chilling in an elevator till he comes face to face with the Hydra Squad across multiple floors. I mean, those dudes kept piling on like Taylor Swift streams after midnight. Also, mind you, this isn't the endgame version of Steve where he gets out of a tricky spot simply by whispering.
Hail Hydra.
So keeping that in mind, Chris Evans decides he's got to show off the result of all that punching exercise. To be fair, he does give everyone a chance to escape when he says,
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
That wasn't just badass, it's also an act of mercy. Of course, the bad guys don't like to follow logic, so they give us an epic fight where Steve takes them down after a bit of a struggle. It just goes on to show that you should never doubt America's ass.
I just want you to know, Cat. It's personal! It kind of feels personal.
Manners maketh man. Let me translate that for you.
Colin Firth already had his fun in the first Kingsman film, so they were never going to give us the exact same sequence in the sequel. Poor guy started off with so much confidence and still got himself a thrashing. Luckily, the Mandalorian, Whiskey, comes to the rescue and kicks off a thrilling encounter by repeating Harry's favourite line, "Manners maketh men." First of all, I've got to point out how awesome Pedro Pascal looks in a cowboy costume. It really does suit him. Also, I don't know what kind of tricks he's been practicing with that lasso of his, but it sure looks lethal. Whiskey proceeds to savagely take down the goons with ease, and he definitely leaves nothing to chance this time. I'm sure he already learned that lesson during his previous encounter with the Mountain. Oh, I still gag whenever I remember that scene.
Whew. I feel like a tornado in a trailer park.
Huh? What you doing? You gonna shoot me in front of everybody? Huh? Come on.
Denzel Washington is a certified badass regardless of whichever movie you see him in. This one's from American Gangster, where he plays Frank Lucas, who seems to be a huge fan of Rihanna because he goes up to Tango and says,
Where's my money?
Now you'd normally imagine that a dude like Idris Elba won't be killed off so easily, and the British hunk believes the same thing, even though he says it with an American accent. However, my man Denzel ain't the type of fool to be messing around, so he simply pops one straight into his head right after he asks him if he's going to shoot him in front of everybody. Well, long story short, he does exactly that, and in cold-blooded fashion. The sassy gangster even had the audacity to throw Tango's own money back at him because he wanted some extra commission. If that isn't a flex, then I don't know what is.
So you are what you are in this world. Either you're somebody or you're nobody.
It sure sucks to be Aegon if you're having a coronation party, eh? The man's just trying to have a nice time celebrating his newfound status, but then RHAENYS decides to sass up the place with an epic entrance. First of all, that dragon looks like a legit kaiju. Like seriously, Godzilla better watch out if he wants to remain the king of monsters. Then of course, it's the heroine herself who simply gives her enemies the death stare, after which her dragon roars into their faces. To top it off, she simply flies away without causing any further drama because she was simply sending a reminder. Man, you gotta bow down to Rhaenys Targaryen. She went from the queen that never was to the queen that should have been. Well, we can't have everything go our way now, can we?
No one else has the heart to tell you. Men would sooner put the realm to the torch than see a woman ascend the Iron Throne. Your father is no fool.
What kind of genius would ever think it's a good idea to invade John Wick's home? Well, this bunch of goons sure did, and they got the worst possible end of the stick. You guys must remember Walter White saying,
I am the one who knocks.
or Rorschach saying,
I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
yeah, John Wick is more lethal than both of them combined. It begins in all too familiar fashion with Keanu Reeves prepping himself up for the incoming invasion, and then boom, 0 to 100 real quick. I'm not going to talk about the splendid stunt choreography or the amazing tracking shots. All I'm going to say is that an assassin truly cements his dominance when he can own an entire army without uttering a word. There's a reason people call him breathtaking, you know.
You working again?
No, just sorting some stuff out.
At this point, I might as well just make a whole video on Denzel Washington. This entry focuses on the Book of Eli, where my main man plays the titular hero. He's confronted by a bunch of scavengers who try to act cool with him. Their leader gives Eli a little push, but then he warns him by saying,
Put that hand on me again, you won't get it back.
As expected, the fool doesn't believe him, so Eli slices him up super quick. It actually shocks the rest of his team so much that they actually take a few seconds to just process what happened. Then Eli shows all of them who's the boss by killing them off one by one in a beautifully shot sequence. He goes through all his opponents with ease, apart from the masked dude with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes. Even then, Denzel comes out on top and establishes himself once again as a grade A boss man.
Where are you going?
West.
Can I come with you?
No.
This is not meth.
It takes a special kind of character like Walter White who can live on in meme culture even a decade after his first appearance. We all know his transition from goofy professor to the infamous drug lord Heisenberg, but what scene comes to your mind when you think about his most savage moments? For me, it's when he goes up to Tuco and demands compensation for the way he was mistreating him and Jesse. Of course, a no-good goon like Tuco ain't gonna play nice, so he simply mocks Walter for bringing him more meth. However, that's when Heisenberg awakens and reveals that the stuff he got isn't meth. He pulls off a massive explosion and convinces his psychotic counterpart to submit and even calm his own men down. Now that's a special achievement, and it shows exactly why Breaking Bad is one of the best TV shows ever made.
Hello. I need a cab. How long do you think that would take?
And there you go, that's the end of Volume 2. Like, share and subscribe for more content, and check out the links in the description for exclusive access. Alright then, I'll see you the next time on TV Regent.